Sage Accpac ERP allows you to customize the information that flows from your submodules to your general ledger. This is important because it allows you to have key information about underlying transactions visible at the GL level. In this tutorial, we'll show how you can customize the information sent from a submodule to the general ledger, in this case, from accounts receivable. Importantly, this feature applies to all of your submodules. So now let's jump right in and take a look. Let's start by looking at the chart of accounts by opening the general ledger, selecting GL accounts, and then chart of accounts. If we're the CFO or controller, we might be looking at a bank account, in this case the 1020 account, and we may want to review the transactions that make up this $4 million plus balance. To view these transactions, we'll click the Transactions button, which opens the GL Transaction History screen. Let's look at the first journal entry by double-clicking the line, and here we can see the details of this two-legged transaction, the debit and the credit. Looking at the credit, you'll notice that the entry includes a reference field, a description field, and scrolling over we can see a comment field. There's an easier way to view this information without scrolling, and that's by hitting the Detail button. And again, here are the reference, description, and comment fields. The information presented in these fields has flowed down from the transaction in accounts receivable. Importantly, the point of this tutorial is that you're able to select the information that fills these fields from the submodules. So let's take a look at how you're able to customize these fields. To do this, we'll go to Accounts Receivable, AR Setup, and open GL Integration. Within this screen, you'll find an Integration tab and a Transactions tab. On the Integration tab, you configure when and how Accounts Receivable produces general ledger transactions. It's also where you define the source codes used to identify different types of accounts receivable transactions that are created for your general ledger. But for this tutorial, we'll be focusing on the Transactions tab, and we'll come back to the Integration tab in another tutorial. Since the example we looked at earlier involved a receipt detail, we'll highlight Receipt Detail on this list and click Open. On this screen, you'll specify the information that will be sent to the general ledger. You can see that with the current selection, we're focusing on a specific type of transaction, a receipt detail, and a specific field in the GL, in this case, the reference field. When we set up this field, we chose customer number and customer name from the list on the left-hand side because that's what we wanted to have in the GL transaction reference field. You can also configure the separator between the segments that you select, and you're provided with a number of choices. And here you can see that a hyphen had been selected. Now let's jump back to the GL transaction that we looked at earlier to verify this. And there's the reference field with the customer number, 1200, and the customer name, Ronald Black. Returning to the previous screen, now let's look at the description field by changing the GL transaction field selection to GL detail description. And you can see that the current segments are payment code and check/receipt number and bank code. And jumping back to the GL transaction, we can see that the description field does in fact show check for the payment code, the receipt number, and CCB, which is the bank code. And finally, let's move to the comment field by changing the selection, and here you can see that it's configured to send the Apply To document number, which in this case will be the invoice number that this receipt was applied to. And jumping back to the GL transaction, there's the invoice number in the comment field. Now before we finish, it's important to note that the information you add here cannot exceed 60 characters. If you exceed this, the information will be truncated when the transaction posts to the general ledger. Also, if you choose to consolidate your GL transactions, only the description field will carry over. The reference and comment fields will be lost in the consolidation. So to recap, Sage Accpac allows you to customize the information that flows from your submodules to the general ledger. This allows you to have a better understanding of the underlying transactions. Importantly, you also have the ability to drill down to the submodules and originating transactions when necessary. Give us a call if you need assistance with this or any other feature in your Sage Accpac system. Well, that's it for this tutorial. Bye for now.